Hi everybody, welcome to Livewire Review. We have another episode for you today. We're going to be comparing the old versus new.
So right next to me here, we've got the 2023 Hyundai Kona Electric. This is the last year for this model. It is on its way out. We do have a new 24 coming in, and we will talk about that shortly. But today we want to talk about, well, over the evolution of 4 years. What's changed? What's new? Are they absolutely identical? Well, we're going to get right into it.
Yeah, and what we have here is the 2019 Kona Electric Ultimate. Both of these cars are the Ultimate package, so at least we have a fair comparison. Okay, we're out here with the 2019 and the 2023. I just wanted to talk about a couple of the changes. Honestly, there's not much here to see. We've gotten rid of the dimples in the front end. We still have the charge point in the same spot. I've noticed there's still no gasket around the front end of the car, and they've changed some of the plastics. As you can see on the original model, we had projector LED headlights, and these ones actually have turning headlights in the side when you get the Ultimate package. And on the side over here, you can see we have unpainted plastics, different style of rim, and just the blue drive on here. And I think it gives a little bit of character. It looks more like an SUV when it's the older one. The newer one, we put a little bit of chrome trim on the front, and everything is painted. We got rid of the dimples in the front end, same Hyundai symbol, everything seems to be the same here. But they changed the headlights, they went with a reflector style headlight, but what's nice is they've actually gotten rid of the incandescent lamps for the turn signals in the front and rear, and they've gone for an LED setup on the newer one. They changed the styling on the rims here. They still come with the same Nexen tires, but they do give you excellent range. But along the side, we have completely painted plastics front to back on it, same styling lines, and we have that same entry system with the Ultimate package. Okay, so we're at the back end of the 2023 now, and as you can see, not much has changed. They got the incandescent lights on the old 2019, and in the rear on this one, they've made this a little bit bigger, and they've made everything into an LED. So there are no bulbs to change on the newer model, and they've just redesigned the taillights here a little bit. Painted plastics all the way around. They've gotten rid of a bit of the cladding around here, and they've added some silver trim on the back. Well, I'm getting in the back of the 2023 Kona now. It honestly doesn't make a difference which one of these cars I get in the back seat for. This is one of the reasons why we bought the Kona. Every car that I buy, I make sure that I can fit in the back seat. Even though I don't sit back here, I still have about ½ an inch of headroom in the back of this car, which is pretty remarkable for a car of this size. And I have the seating position set up for both Matt and myself. Apparently we have the same seating position, and there is still just a hair of room for my knees. So you can actually fit 2 adults in the back of this car. You can even fit a child in the middle. As you saw in my car, there is a car seat on this side. We have a booster seat on this side, and my oldest son fits in the middle. And everyone fits in here pretty comfortably for such a small car. If you're gonna wait for the 2024 model, you're gonna end up probably with about that much more legroom in the new model car. Okay, so I'm going to cover a couple of topics here. First thing I wanted to cover was real-world range. This is a very interesting way that Hyundai approached electric vehicles. It may have to do with the fact that their fuel economy standards were under scrutiny years ago. So what they did is they take about a 67.7 kilowatt-hour battery, they lock out part of it, and they give you 64 kilowatt hours usable. What's nice about that is when the car is charged to 100%, you're not at fully 100%. So it actually helps preserve the battery over time. What's also nice is that hides the degradation over the years. So when they tell you you're gonna get a 415 kilometer range, you're gonna get that for many, many years before you start seeing degradation. So having driven this one 80,000 kilometers, and this is the exact same drivetrain in this car, I can tell you that you can get upwards of 485 kilometers of range with the Eco tires on it. And in the winter, you can expect about 300 to 350 kilometers in range. And that's pretty accurate, even down to temperatures as low as -24. Now that brings me to the heat pump. This is one of the main reasons why we bought this in 2019. And it's also why I'd still buy this car today, is because before Tesla came out with the Octavalve, Hyundai was the first one on the market that used a liquid cooling system through the battery, the inverter, the motor, the charger, anything that creates heat. Any little bit of heat that this car creates is taken in by the heat pump and put into the cabin. As long as you precondition your car before you go somewhere, you're gonna get anywhere from 80 to 90% of your range, even in temperatures as low as -24. So as many of you may know, both Matt and I are certified EV technicians. So we've actually had a chance to work on a few of these hybrids, the Ioniq 5 and of course the Kona. Now, I've had this for 80,000 kilometers. It was part of the recall where the main battery was changed out. There's no issue with that. They were very helpful. It was locked out to 80% for a little bit. Now, actual repairs out of pocket. you have to service the brakes on this every single year. The first time I did a brake service on this car was at 1 year and 16,000 kilometers. The brake pads were just lock solid. And I have machined the rotors 1 time. That's because the rotors on these cars are the same quality as the one that is on a gas-powered car. I've noticed on the Tesla models, they use more of a European rotor, and that stands up to the rust a little bit better. So number 1 thing with these cars, service your brakes every single spring. The other issue with these cars that we've come across is the 12-volt battery. I changed mine at about 3.5 years old. Some of our customers have changed this out after only 1 year because they've changed the chemistry in the 12-volt battery on these cars. I believe it's some sort of calcium setup, and for some reason, it just doesn't work. So don't be surprised if you have to change out the battery, but after you do, it won't be an issue. Now, I think it's time to go for a road test. We'll see you inside the car. Okay, we are here in a 2023 Hyundai Kona Electric, the Ultimate Package. Okay, so we got Matt at the helm right now because I have enough experience with the Hyundai Kona Electric, so I'd like to get his impressions on it.
And I have not spent much time in this vehicle at all. Just a couple of cursory road tests, but no real mileage, let's put it that way.
Yeah, so we can start with the boring stuff. It's 201 horsepower and 291 pound-feet of torque, which is probably my favorite thing about this car. It doesn't have N levels of performance, but it certainly gets up and goes. If I'm not mistaken, I think the 0 to 60 time is around 7.2 seconds for this car.
That's really quick.
Interesting note on my car, I actually installed the Firestone Indy 500 summer tires on it. I gotta let you know, it actually costs you about 50 kilometers worth of range of those tires. They're a nice sticky tire, they're a lot of fun. I can still spin them with almost 300 foot-pounds of torque, but they do sacrifice a bit of range. However, they do take care of some of the problems on the front end of this car. I've noticed that the suspension on this car is like every other Hyundai. It's not a sports car. You get a lot of lift in the front end. So to help counter that, the sticky tires, they're sticky.
You really do. Like even just taking off from the light there, like I can feel the whole nose kind of comes up when I punch that. And it's just like, that's all right in dry conditions on a day like today. But if I had any kind of moisture on this road or anything else, I would just be spinning and spinning and spinning. And that's not the end of the world, but it certainly doesn't stick the way you want it to.
Yeah. However, the traction control on this car is very quick and it works quite well. So as long as you leave that on, you won't have an issue. But if you turn that off in the snow, the whole front end of the car will actually slide around. So make sure you leave that on. Personally, I think this car should have been a rear-wheel drive, but this is a chassis that was built for a gas car. It was supposed to be also built for a hybrid, although they didn't do that with this chassis, and of course the full electric that we're in now. So what they did is they took the engine bay, they stacked everything up nice and tall. Charger, inverter, motor, AC, everything's under the hood, and the battery's down the middle. That does throw off the weight balance a bit. It's nice to have the weight down low, gives you that centered feeling in the car, but with that lift on the front tires, you get a lot more traction if it was driving from the back.
They also cramming that battery in here, and I say that because when I saw one for the first time out of the car, it looks like the Tetris L block, if anybody can put that in their head. And that means that you've got this double stack on the one end, which is at the rearmost position of the car. And I felt like when I first saw it, well, that's gonna kind of add a lot of weight over that back axle, and that might be contributing to that lift factor that we're feeling. Just an observation, at least when I was at the factory.
You're right, actually. The rear seat in this car is actually thinner than it is in the gas Kona because it has to make up for that little bit of extra batteries in the back.
So when you move from the 2019 into this 23, what are some things in here that are different? Because I mean, to my eyeball, cursory look, the two look shockingly similar.
To be fair, it's exactly the same car. The only thing they've changed is they've actually made this screen a wide screen. They've made it bigger. In the 2020 model, they made it an inch bigger. This one, they made it a wide. So it's actually got the new infotainment setup that Hyundai's been using in all their cars. I use this system a lot. I'm still not too happy with the layout of it. It's a little bit confusing. The nav, when you speak to it, it doesn't pick up your destination right away. There's a lot of people who argued with me on this. They say they can tell the car, hey, I'm going to Montreal, and it will work. But I've tried to enter certain addresses in these cars, and it just doesn't pick them up as well as other ones I've been in.
It does seem a little bit old. It felt old the first time I used it. I was like, there are better systems out there on the market now, and I don't know why we haven't upgraded to them yet.
Yeah, so to talk about the package in here, to get the navigation in this car, you have to go for the Ultimate package, which in my car was $6,000 more. I'll post what it is over the Kona now because they have dropped in price. I would personally recommend the preferred model of this car. But the Ultimate model is going to come with a sunroof. It's going to come with LED headlights, although in this one I believe you get LED headlights. No, I got that wrong. The preferred still has halogen headlights, doesn't it?
Correct.
Okay, so you get LED headlights in this with the Ultimate. You get the sunroof. You get heated and cooled front seats, and I'll tell you, the cooled seats are a nice feature. You get the navigation system, and you get an upgraded audio system. And in this one, they actually run a Harman and Kardon system. In my car, the 2019, they ran an Infinity system. It sounds pretty good. The tweeters are down low, so for an audiophile like me, it doesn't fill the cabin with sound. You still have lower sound quality in here, but at least it handles the high volumes really well, which is what I like.
I don't care what it is. I just love taking off really hard like that sometimes. Just for no reason other than I can.
Exactly. And you know, I'm actually kind of surprised with a couple things in this car. It is a very small car. It's a city crossover.
Yeah.
However, we pick this car every time we have to go to the city because it's so easy to park. It's so short. And everybody fits in here. I don't know how they do it, but I have 3 kids now. One's in a car seat and one's in a booster seat. Everybody fits in here just fine, even with my seat all the way back. And one really nice thing about the setup in the Kona, they came out with this in the Soul originally, but the Kona has the same setup. Your knees and everything are actually quite high. Like your feet are planted on the floor. You're not stretched down low like you are in a car. Like when I get in my Model 3, you actually get down low and your knees are bent. This is a much more comfortable car to be in. Not saying the Model 3 is uncomfortable. It's just for your legs. This is more of that SUV high up feeling that most people are looking for, and you wouldn't expect that in such a small car.
It's one of the selling features, like you mentioned, when the Soul first came out. I mean, what was the targeted demographic? Young people. What was the actual demographic buying that car?
Retired people.
Old people.
Yes.
Because the ingress and the egress angles were just so comfortable getting in and out of the thing. The seat's not too high. You don't got to get down too low. It's not that hard on your knees. And yeah, exactly. It like you said, you hit the nail on the head. It was just comfortable. It wasn't too out there for anybody.
Yeah, no, back when I was an apprentice, I took this car to, not this one, but my 2019, I took it to school every single day, put 14,000 kilometers on it going back and forth from school. The efficiency in traffic jams and the comfort over a long 2-3 hour drive every day, it's incredible. I love this car for going long distances. That brings us to charging speeds. This is still the older Kona. It maxes out at 77 kilowatts of fast charging speed. So that means most of your charging stops are going to be about 50 minutes long. It's not an issue, but we're all sharing the public charging network right now. 50 kilowatt stations are still going to be your friend in this car. But if you happen to have, let's say, an F-150 Lightning ahead of you, that's going to be an issue. I want to see Tesla's connector come out on the Hyundais. I know that's going to be an issue because this car runs a 400 volt system. The Ioniq series runs an 800 volt system. I think the engineers have a challenge ahead of them to be able to integrate that connector in their car. So one of the new features for this car we noticed is this one actually has heated seats in the back. The 2019 Kona does not have that.
So I think overall the takeaway is newer Kona versus older Kona. You haven't changed all that much. It's still the same car. As with most models, you get that mid life cycle refresh. That's really all this was. Change the exterior, make it, a little bit sharper. Listen to some people, get rid of some stuff that everybody's complaining about. Add in features such as those rear heated seats, things that people have been asking for. Just touch it up. And I mean, this facelift came fairly late in the model cycle, considering we saw the facelift, we got the car for about a year and a half, and then already it's like, here's the new one coming, which is very odd. Usually you feel like a brand would ride these out a little bit longer, but you know what? Let's do it. Let's get the new one. Let's get the fully re-engineered electric drivetrain in here, which I'm hoping that they do. My fear is with the new one that they're going to do the exact same thing they did with this, which is, here's the gas version. Oh, and here, look, we crammed an electric motor into this one too.
I know they're going to do that. And one thing I'd like to mention, because I know the new Kia Niro comes with the vehicle to load feature. I know this Kona does not, the 2023. The 2024 that is coming out is going to come with the vehicle to load feature, and they added a little bit more space in the back seat. They didn't give it any more range. It's a 64.8 kilowatt hour battery in the new one, and in this one it's a 64 kilowatt hour battery. I honestly believe this car is actually going to go further than the newer one because of the excess weight and the length of the new car.
So where does this Kona stack up in the electric market? Well, for me anyway, I look at this package as value. It is one of the best values on the market, and I'll throw up all the prices on the screen here. Your range from base model right up to fully loaded here. And when you compare it with competitors, you're going to get the most range and the most value. You're getting all those interior features you want. You're getting a ton of range. And when you compare them to products, say like your Chevrolet Bolt, where it doesn't even use a heat pump, we're still in resistive heaters, you're losing all that range in the winter. This is the most forward-thinking, best segment-placed EV out there right now. Now, in terms of its size and everything else, this is where Matthew has his one note. I'm a big guy. I have a big family. For me, Jeremy, your kids fit in the back. I love it. Me, I don't know, man. I got too much stuff for this vehicle. I'm looking for something bigger, but for an everyday commuter, this thing is awesome. I have no doubts that this will be a great vehicle. I've actually looked at one for purchase myself, just for driving back and forth. As a weekend getaway car, not quite for me. But neither here nor there. It's my opinion, not everybody else's. Overall, though, this thing is, like I said, bang for the buck. You can't beat it. Check them out if you're looking for one. Here at Bourgeois Hyundai, we do have a couple on the lot. You can always give us a call. So that's it for this one, guys. So like we said, from its inception to its current, there hasn't been that many changes in this model. A couple of design features, and that's pretty much about it. A few changes in the plastics, a few changes in the livability, the interior comforts, like those rear heated seats we were talking about earlier. And overall, though, it's the same car by the numbers. So, you know, do you like the styling on the 23? Do you like the original? Do you just want to hold on for the 24? It's going to come down to personal choice.
Yeah, and if it came down to my money, I'd probably go for the preferred model in this one, save some money. Probably makes it one of the best bang for your buck EVs on the market right now.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget, like, subscribe, join, do whatever you can to try and spread the love, and we will do what we can to bring you more information.
Thank you.
Door open. Door closed.
Thanks, Nick. Insightful points. We love your visits and your candor.